There were nights when you cried in silence, feeling like your prayers vanished into thin air. People who once cheered for you disappeared the moment you stumbled. They saw your struggle but never your sacrifice. They witnessed your breakdown but never your bravery. They thought your silence meant surrender, but what they didn't realize was that silence was your sacred preparation. Every sleepless night was a divine classroom where your faith was being trained for something greater. God didn't forget a single tear. He was collecting receipts of every moment they mocked, doubted, or walked away from you. The hidden season was not a punishment, it was a process. Sometimes God conceals you because exposure too early would have destroyed you. While they thought you were finished, heaven was building your foundation brick by brick. You weren't losing, you were being refined. Every no, every rejection, every closed door was God redirecting you toward your true purpose. In that season of isolation, you discovered your strength, your worth, and your connection with the divine in ways comfort could never teach. So if you ever wondered why no one clapped for your growth, it's because your elevation was never meant to be public yet. The silence wasn't empty, it was sacred. You remember who left when you needed them most, not because you're bitter, but because your heart remembers who handled it with care and who didn't. The betrayal stung, but what's even deeper is realizing that God saw it all. Every conversation behind your back, every fake smile, every time they used your vulnerability as gossip fuel, heaven kept records. And that's why this next season isn't about revenge, it's about revelation. God is about to show you who was truly for you, and who was simply attached to your light. Sometimes the walkouts were divine redirections. You thought you lost friends, partners, or opportunities, but what you truly lost were distractions. People who couldn't celebrate you in your valley don't deserve access to your mountain. You see, the same way receipts prove a transaction took place, divine receipts prove your pain wasn't wasted. Every time someone thought they got away with hurting you, God simply added their action to your future testimony. Don't mourn who left, be grateful for what was revealed. Their departure made room for your destiny. You've changed, not in the way the world notices, but in the quiet way your spirit has matured. The old you would have reacted, but the new you responds with peace. The old you sought validation, the new you walks in quiet confidence. Growth rarely announces itself. It reveals itself through calmness, boundaries, and discernment. The very people who underestimated you will soon wonder how you became so unbothered, so grounded, so unshakable. That's what happens when God becomes your anchor instead of approval. You stop chasing closure because you realize some people can't give it. You learn to let go without explanations. That's emotional maturity, the kind that develops in solitude. And as you evolved, your energy shifted. That's why people who once had easy access to you now feel uncomfortable around you. They're sensing your growth, even if they can't define it. You're no longer living for applause, you're living for alignment. And that, chosen one, is the quiet proof that you've healed beyond recognition. Delay doesn't mean denial, but to the untrained eye, your waiting season looked like failure. They thought because it was taking long, it wasn't working. They thought your silence meant surrender. What they didn't know is that the creator of time never rushes his masterpieces. While they were celebrating short-term wins, you were being equipped for long-term impact. You were in divine incubation, hidden, stretched, molded, and refined for something they couldn't see. It's easy for others to misread divine timing because they only see snapshots of your life, not the full picture. They don't know what's happening behind the scenes. While they counted your absence as loss, heaven was perfecting your setup. The same people who laughed at your pace will soon witness your acceleration. And when it happens, it won't make sense to them, because divine justice doesn't play by human rules. So let them think you're behind. God's receipts show you're right on schedule. Every wrong done against you has been recorded. Every lie told, every promise broken, every manipulation disguised as love, heaven saw it all. And while you were busy trying to heal, God was preparing evidence. The divine keeps receipts not out of vengeance, but out of justice. The time is coming when those who mocked you will have no choice but to respect what they can't explain. The very ones who doubted you will witness the truth unfold right before their eyes. God's receipts aren't physical papers, they're moments of undeniable favor. When the promotion comes after rejection, when the breakthrough comes after betrayal, when joy floods the same space that once echoed with your tears, that's heaven cashing in what was owed to you. Every sleepless night, every heartbreak, every sacrifice will become currency in your comeback story. You're not just being restored, you're being repaid with interest. Remember this: when God cashes his receipts, even your enemies will have to acknowledge the transaction. You stopped explaining yourself, not because you didn't care, but because your peace became more valuable than their understanding. Silence became your language of wisdom. In that silence, you found strength, not the kind that roars, but the kind that endures. The kind that says, I don't need to prove myself, time will. And that's the kind of power that frightens those who once fed off your reactions. They don't know how to handle your stillness. What they called indifference is actually elevation. When you reach a level of inner peace, chaos no longer deserves a response. The people who once tried to stir your emotions will be baffled by your calm. They'll wonder why you don't fight back, why you don't defend yourself, why you no longer chase closure, and the answer is simple. God already kept the receipts. You don't need to fight battles that heaven has already settled. Sometimes, silence is your loudest victory. Vindication isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, a door opening after years of waiting, a blessing appearing where there was once lack, a peace replacing the pain. Vindication is when life itself testifies on your behalf. The same mouths that spoke against you will have to speak about your success. That's how divine justice works, not through arguments but through outcomes. Your glow-up will become your proof, and your peace will become your statement. It's not your job to expose anyone. God handles that with precision. The best part: he doesn't need your permission. The truth always finds a way to surface, and when it does, it won't require explanation. The energy that was used against you will be rerouted to work for you. That's divine mathematics. What they meant for harm becomes your harvest. When God vindicates you, no apology is required. The transformation speaks for itself. The tables are not turning with noise, but in quiet divine precision. The very people who once looked down on you are about to see the view from below. It's not pride, it's positioning. God has a way of flipping situations so gracefully that no one sees it coming until it's already done. While they were busy counting your failures, heaven was busy multiplying your blessings. What looked like loss was actually leverage. What looked like delay was actually development. When the tables turn, it's not about humiliation but revelation. The truth doesn't scream, it shines. The same spaces that rejected you will become the platforms that celebrate you. Don't be surprised when invitations start coming from the same doors that once closed on you. The universe remembers balance. And when your name starts surfacing in rooms you've never stepped into, know this: divine receipts are being processed. The tables have already started turning. You just haven't seen the full picture yet. The pain you endured wasn't random, it was purposeful. Every heartbreak, betrayal, and disappointment was crafting your character into something unbreakable. You didn't just survive, you transformed. That's why the scars you carry aren't ugly, they're sacred. They tell a story of endurance, of grace, of faith that refused to die. And soon, those scars will testify for you. They will speak louder than words ever could, showing the world that divine justice always leaves proof. Wounds can either become walls or windows. For you, chosen one, they've become windows, openings where divine light shines through. Every place you once bled from now glows with wisdom and empathy. You can't fake that kind of growth. It's the result of being broken in private and rebuilt in the hands of the Creator. That's what sets you apart. You've learned to see beauty in the bruises. And when people see your glow, they'll never guess how many nights it took to earn it. You've reached a point where you no longer need to prove who you are, the truth will do it for you. Time is the greatest witness. It exposes lies, clarifies intentions, and vindicates the pure-hearted. You don't have to chase explanations anymore. Those who misunderstood you will eventually understand, not because you explained, but because life revealed it. Truth doesn't need defending. It just needs patience. Every lie told against you had an expiration date. And the beauty of divine justice is that when the truth finally surfaces, it's undeniable. You don't even have to say, "I told you so." Your peace will say it for you. Your success will say it for you. Your restored joy will echo louder than any accusation. The same mouths that lied will be forced to witness what they can't undo. So rest easy. The truth is already preparing its grand entrance. There was a time when you wondered why opportunities seemed to pass you by, why people didn't see your value, why you felt overlooked. What you didn't realize was that rejection was protection in disguise. You were hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were too precious to be exposed too early. God shields his chosen ones until the appointed moment. The delay was divine camouflage. Had you been seen before you were ready, you might have been celebrated prematurely by people who only loved the idea of you, not the truth of you. Hidden seasons preserve destiny. They give you space to grow roots before the world demands your fruits. It's not easy being unseen, but it's necessary. The spotlight can blind those who haven't yet learned to walk in their own light. Your hidden season was God's greatest protection, because unseen doesn't mean forgotten. There will come a day when those who mocked your faith, doubted your dreams, or dismissed your vision will look for you not out of pity but out of need. Life has a way of circling back, and when it does, it reminds people who they once underestimated. You won't have to say a word. Your presence will say enough. The same hands that waved you away will one day reach out for your help. That's not revenge, it's divine irony. You'll stand in the same rooms where you were once ignored, and this time the atmosphere will shift in your favor. But remember, don't gloat. Stay humble. Because when God elevates you, it's never just for your benefit, it's so you can be a reflection of grace. The lesson isn't to make them pay, it's to show them how mercy looks when worn by someone who remembers the pain of being mocked. Your rise will be their revelation. They thought they wrote the end of your story, but they only saw a chapter. The author of destiny never leaves his chosen unfinished. What people called failure, God calls formation. Every plot twist, every delay, every heartbreak was just a redirection in the grand script of your life. You thought it was over, but heaven was still editing. And when God edits, he removes what was meant to break you and replaces it with what will build you. The beauty of divine storytelling is that no mistake is wasted. Even your detours become data for your destiny. When the rewritten version of your life unfolds, it will make sense why certain things had to fall apart. The pain had purpose, and the mess had meaning. The same people who once pitied you will be silenced by the perfection of how everything turns around. So don't fear the rewriting. It's not erasure, it's elevation. When you stopped explaining, they assumed you gave up. But silence is not surrender, it's strategy. While they were talking, you were building. While they were gossiping, you were growing. Silence gave you space to heal, to plan, and to prepare for what's next. You learned that not every reaction deserves a response. Sometimes the best revenge is elevation so undeniable that even your absence is noticed. You became more powerful when you stopped announcing your every move. Because real power doesn't need attention, it creates results. That's why your next breakthrough will shock people. They won't see it coming. You'll appear in full bloom after being silent for so long, and they'll wonder how you did it. But they'll never know the private battles that led to your public glow. Silence became your superpower, and it's working. No one saw the nights you prayed, the moments you almost gave up, or the silent tears that soaked your pillow. But those private battles built the version of you that the world now sees. Strength is not born in comfort, it's forged in fire. You were trained in isolation so you could lead in revelation. Every struggle was secretly strengthening your soul, teaching you resilience that can't be faked. People often see the crown but not the cost. They celebrate your strength without knowing the storms that formed it. But heaven saw it all. That's why your victory is sacred. It was paid for in private pain. You don't owe anyone explanations for how you got here. The scars are your receipts, proving you've earned every blessing coming your way. You fought battles no one applauded for, and still, you won. Your transformation will be your loudest testimony. There's something sacred about the glow that follows a healed heart. It can't be faked, bought, or replicated. It's the light of someone who walked through darkness and refused to stay there. When people who once criticized you see you now, they won't understand it. They'll call it luck, timing, coincidence, but you'll know it was divine grace cashing in every receipt. That glow isn't just physical, it's spiritual. You radiate differently because peace lives where pain used to dwell. You speak differently because wisdom replaced bitterness. Your presence will start unsettling those who once underestimated you because your energy exposes their intentions. You are living proof that when the divine restores, it restores beautifully, not partially, but completely. And that glow, it's your silent announcement that you're no longer who they left behind. You may have felt delayed, but you were never denied. Divine timing doesn't rush because it knows exactly when the world needs your light. You weren't being held back, you were being aligned. There's a time for everything, and yours is about to arrive. The opportunities, the recognition, the abundance, it's all being synchronized with perfect precision. You had to wait because your blessing wasn't ready yet, or maybe because you weren't ready for it yet. When divine timing moves, it moves suddenly. What took years to build can manifest in moments. One phone call, one connection, one open door can shift everything. And when it happens, it won't feel forced, it'll feel familiar, like something your soul already expected. That's the beauty of divine receipts. They show up right on time with interest. You didn't miss your moment was just maturing. Your rise won't need a public introduction, it will be undeniable. The ones who doubted you will recognize it before you even say a word. That's the kind of elevation that can't be faked or fabricated. It's quiet but powerful, humble but majestic. You won't need to prove you've changed. Your results will do that for you. The energy around you will shift so visibly that even your silence will feel loud. The beauty of divine elevation is that it doesn't need a spotlight, it creates one. You're stepping into a chapter where your authenticity will attract what was meant for you. No competition, no validation, no forcing, just divine alignment. And as you rise, remember to keep your heart soft. The same grace that lifted you will sustain you. When your season arrives, it will announce itself through undeniable favor. Restoration isn't returning to what was, it's receiving something better. God doesn't just replace, He multiplies. The peace you'll feel will be greater than the pain you endured. The relationships, opportunities, and blessings coming your way will feel tailor-made, as if the universe saved the best for last. Every broken area of your life is being rebuilt, not to match what you lost, but to surpass it. You'll look back and realize that nothing was truly taken from you, it was exchanged for something divine. What was meant to destroy you became the soil for your transformation. Restoration is proof that God never wastes pain, He repurposes it. And when this restoration manifests, even you will struggle to recognize yourself, healed, elevated, renewed. The new you won't resemble the old battles, only the victory. This is the moment everything shifts. The receipts that heaven kept, every tear, every act of faith, every time you chose love over hate, are being redeemed. You're stepping into repayment season. The divine has tallied the cost of your endurance and decided it's time to bless you beyond measure. The scales are balancing in your favor, and what's coming next will erase every trace of lack, pain, or doubt. This isn't luck, it's alignment. You've stayed faithful through storms that would have broken others, and now the reward is unfolding. You'll see doors open that no man can shut, favor that can't be explained, and joy that feels supernatural. This is your confirmation. The receipts are being cashed in your name. Everything they said you'd never have is being delivered right on schedule. So claim it, chosen one. Your time is not coming, it's here. If this message touched your spirit, type, "I receive it" in the comments right now. Let the universe, or heaven itself, see your agreement. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Anointed Era for more divine revelations, deep spiritual truths, and life-changing messages made for chosen ones like you.